Miranda Fricker presented the concept of hermeneutical injustice. Hermeneutical injustice is essentially where someone has a significant area of their social experience obscured from understanding due to a prejudicial flaws and shared resources for social interpretation through oppressors. This occurs when there is a gap in collective understanding and interpretive resources that then puts someone at an unfair disadvantage when it comes to making sense of their social experiences and standing. This is unfortunately very common when it comes to women's issues. There has been a recent rise in hermeneutical injustice in the case of women's issues in America, specifically in the past 3 years. The case and idea of women's issues has especially recently become very controversial and divisive. All people have not been able to agree upon what is categorized as women's issues. There are many things that some see as women's rights and an attack on women, and then there are others that do not. For many years, the majority of women and people in general were able to agree upon what categorized as women's rights, but that is no longer the case. So what has happened that has caused this change, and why is it important? Within the past few years, there has been an abrupt shift in the way women and women's issues are viewed. With the introduction of people like Andrew Tate, rise in tradwife content, and influx of red pill content ideologies, women's issues are no longer seen with the same value and understanding as they previously were. Because of different types of social media, people like Andrew Tate have been given a platform. This man has been charged with rape and trafficking, and yet he had millions of followers on TikTok, the current most popular form of social media with the highest number of young users. The way he spoke of women was incredibly destructive. He had millions of people that looked up to him as an ideal man and how you should view and treat women. Red pill content focused on men. The ideology preached about the concept of the ideal masculine man and how they should view women. This ideology views men as the superior sex and places women's roles only in the home and that they should be subservient to men. This kind of content is controlling young, impressionable minds, and then these people grow up with this kind of view and then vote and are able to obtain power. The Red Pill movement has poisoned so many people's minds. It has taken advantage of people who are insecure or simply confused on where they stand and their value. This movement has hurt not just women, but the men it has taken advantage of as well. This is important to the concept of hermeneutical injustice, as it can also be harmful to the oppressor and those in power, not just the oppressed. It is not always fully beneficial for the oppressor. There is a current trend on TikTok that is a great example of this. The popular show Adolescence depicts a young boy that was exposed to red pill content and in return brutally murdered a young girl that turned him down. He believed that she owed him her attention and affection, that he was superior to her and could rightfully take advantage of her and kill her because she, in his mind, bullied him by turning him down and calling out his misogyny. He is then arrested and placed in a facility for his crime. Throughout the whole show, he insists that he did nothing wrong. This is reiterated as a continuous reaction to the show by boys and men was that the message of the show was to not bully and that the young boy was justified in murdering the young girl. This idea and concept that violence is a normal and justifiable reaction to being turned down by women is incredibly detrimental. With this red pill content is the idea that men are victims and that they can't even flirt with women out of fear they'll claim it's sexual assault and that men will go to jail. This is in no way even remotely close to the truth. Recent studies have shown that for every 1,000 rapes, only 7 result in felony conviction. The idea that white men were the most hated group in America was so incredibly false, and yet this idea was continuously pushed and so many people believed it. When it comes to law and the real world, women are the most hated group. Women do not have bodily autonomy. Women are no longer believed when it comes to sexual assault. When it comes to actual harm, women are the victims, not men. Hermeneutical injustice is about actual harm done to the oppressed by the oppressor through a misconception on one's social experience and standing. Therefore, it is women that experience hermeneutical injustice. Men are not the only oppressor when it comes to this. Some women are at fault for their own oppression, most times without even realizing it. Once again, with the recent power of social media, specifically TikTok, some women have been able to gain a platform to promote their tradwife content. This at first is seemingly harmless. It's simply just women posting cooking content, homestead, and holistic content. But it does not stay this way, and it is not harmless. This content then pushed the idea that women should start to want to be stay-at-home wives and moms, which by itself there is nothing wrong with, but the continuous push of this idea is what is harmful. Again, when young impressionable minds are exposed to this kind of content, it warps their understanding, and even when teens see this, they are still at risk of this changing the way they think and see themselves and their own sex. Women are slowly losing more and more rights. Today, 4 states have introduced the idea of charging women with murder for getting an abortion. It is so incredibly important for women to have a true understanding of their social standing and that it can change in a moment's notice. We are not guaranteed our position or our rights. The overturn of Roe v. Wade shows this. 20 years ago, women had more rights in America than they do today. Look at women in Afghanistan. In the 1970s, women went to school. They were able to be scientists, civil servants, and doctors. They had rights, but they were taken. Now women can't even speak. We are not simply given our rights. They are not a guarantee. They have to be protected and fought for by us, by women. Women have to understand our social standing and our experiences and be able to communicate them with each other and the world so that we do not become even more of a victim to hermeneutical injustice. One of the largest and most controversial topics in women's issues and rights is abortion. In 2022, the landmark decision of Roe v. Wade was overturned. Since then, abortion laws have become more and more strict, currently with many states not allowing exceptions when it comes to rape and incest, only allowing exceptions when there is a threat to the mother's life or the fetus is no longer viable. These exceptions are so tight, many physicians will not perform abortions with fear of losing their license. 3 women have now died after facing delays in miscarriage care because of the state's abortion ban. Since the abortion ban in Texas, the rates of sepsis shot up more than 50% for women hospitalized when they lost their pregnancies in the second trimester. These kinds of issues have happened because of hermeneutical injustice in women's issues. There is a severe misunderstanding when it comes to the current idea of abortion. The majority of people that underwent an abortion did not want to have one, but had to. A recent study found that only 33% of abortions were identified as wanted. A majority of abortions are an absolute last resort. For most women, it is an awful situation, but a necessary choice. There is also a misconception on when most abortions occur. The exact percent that most abortions occur at is 93% at or before 13 weeks of gestation. Most women do not even know they are pregnant until 8 weeks. These misconceptions and misunderstandings are due to hermeneutical injustice. There has been a power shift in our country, and current powers that be have caused this misunderstanding of abortion. The majority of the leaders in the Republican Party have preached the lies of abortion for many years, grabbing control of the rest of the party's mind and causing them to believe them. This has only increased in the past 3 years with the shift to red pill ideologies. People go on social media, the news. Everywhere they look, they are being lied to by those in power. These people then vote and place more restrictions on women's rights. Then, because of these misconceptions, women that live in states with more lenient abortion laws do not get necessary abortions out of fear of judgment. There is an incredibly harmful rhetoric around abortion. With the common misconceptions around abortion placed in people's minds by those in power, the people that are affected by it are then put at a disadvantage in harmful situations. People that need help and are victims are seen as evil and murderers. These women are victims of hermeneutical injustice. Hermeneutical injustice is when groups of people or individuals are marginalized by the oppressors in their collective understanding of their experiences and social standing due to the oppressor limiting communication and a lack of concepts and languages. In present-day America, women's issues are caused by hermeneutical injustice. Women as a whole are victims of hermeneutical injustice.